I'd like to introduce Margaret Cheasebro. She's going to speak to us today, and she's going to give us a very good message, I'm sure. Go ahead, Margaret.
Well, as I thought of what to bring to you today, I wanted it to help you feel inspired and hopeful and reinvigorated. So, one of my favorite passages from A Course
Margaret, you're muted again.
Okay, shall I start again?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, as I thought of what to bring to you today, I wanted it to help you feel inspired and hopeful and reinvigorated. So, one of my favorite passages from A Course in Miracles helps me to feel that way. It's in the workbook for students under the topic, What is the Last Judgment? In section 5, verses 1 through 3, on page 455. This is God's final judgment. You are still my holy child, forever innocent, forever loving, and forever loved, as limitless as your Creator, and completely changeless and forever pure. Therefore, awaken and return to me. I am your parent, and you are my child. Most of us have forgotten who we really are. We have forgotten how God sees us. It becomes one of our tasks, a major goal, to remember who we are and to awaken to our true nature. From the time we're born into this life, we have experiences that sometimes tell us we're not good enough, we don't measure up, we're failures. Everyone is against us. If enough of those experiences collect in our memory, they can cloud the reality of who we really are. It is absolutely true that we are holy children of God, forever innocent, forever loving, and forever loved, as limitless as our Creator, completely changeless and forever pure. So how do we find our way from the misconceptions of who we are to remembering who we really are? One way is to grasp some of the teachings in helpful books, CDs, or workshops. In the wonderful book by Dr. Joe Dispenza, Becoming Supernatural, he writes in chapter 13, we are living in a time of extremes, and these extremes are both a reflection of an old consciousness that can no longer survive, and a future consciousness in which planet Earth herself and all of us on Earth are transforming. This old consciousness is driven by survival emotions like hatred, violence, prejudice, anger, fear, suffering, competition, and pain. Emotions that serve to seduce us into believing we are separate from one another. The illusion of separation taxes and divides individuals, communities, societies, countries, and Mother Earth herself. So this new emerging consciousness is helping us to remember that we're all connected. We are all one. We are holy children of God. But it can be hard to grasp that truth, to truly see that we are one. All those old experiences that tell us we are less than, that we are separate from others, that we're on our own in a challenging world, sometimes makes us feel overwhelmed. Another way to remember who we really are is to surround ourselves with reminders that we are one with God. We are one with all that is. There are many sections of A Course in Miracles that remind us we are one. In the workbook, lesson 95, page 167, we're told, you are one self, united with your Creator, at one with every aspect of creation, and limitless in power and in peace. Some people repeat short passages or selected words from A Course in Miracles to help remind them of who they are. These techniques can be helpful to remind us of the amazing truth about ourselves. It's great when we remember who we really are. Sometimes we truly do sense that reality about ourselves for a moment or two, or sometimes even longer. But what about the other times when it feels like we're walking through molasses as we slowly and with great effort put one foot in front of the other? This concept that we are one relates not only to us as humans, but to nature as well. Spending time in nature can help us remember who we really are. We are one with all that God has created. Once, when I was spending time near the Animas River north of Aztec, where we once lived, I picked up a rock that caught my eye. As I held the rock in my hands and focused on it, into my mind came these words, "Take life lightly." That was a message I needed. Life circumstances had become a little challenging at that time. I found myself stressing over things I couldn't do much about. Take life lightly. I took the rock home and put it on my desk after I wrote in black magic marker the message. And it sits there on my desk today because it's a message I often need to remember. When I take life lightly, I'm not as apt to feel like I'm separate from others. It's easier to sense that connection, especially when I look at the rock and feel warmed by the memory of that moment along the river when the rock delivered its message to me. A message that could never have been given if we weren't connected, if we weren't one. Another way to remember who we really are is to seek the services of trained people who can help us. I go to a chiropractor in Durango who uses some techniques that are new to me. One of them is quite profound. He found a sore spot on one side of my neck and put his finger there. He found another sore spot on the other side of my neck and put a finger of his other hand there. And then while he held those two spots, he asked me to think of some emotion involving someone that I had experienced. As I lay on the examining table with my eyes closed, into my mind came the memory of a horse owned by a friend of mine over 50 years ago. She offered to let me ride the horse with her, So while she sat in the saddle, I climbed up behind her. The horse took a few steps and bucked us off. I landed on my left side and got a whiplash. My friend kept hold of the reins so the horse wouldn't run off into the countryside. The horse dragged her through the dirt until it finally settled down. I always wondered if it was my fault that the horse bucked us off, because I was an inexperienced rider. Maybe I had inadvertently done something to upset it. In my mind, laying on the examining table, I could see the horse's head right in front of me. The horse told me, "As you can see, I'm fine. There's nothing to worry about. It wasn't your fault." After that, the muscle tightness I'd had for years on the left side of my neck mostly disappeared. The next week, the chiropractor was so pleased with the experience that I'd had that he tried the technique again. He asked me to remember any emotion connected to another animal. I remembered a huge white Great Pyrenees dog we once owned. She wasn't an easy dog to deal with. She had her own ideas about how she should behave. A week or two after she died of old age, she came to me in a dream. Her message was loud and clear as she held this pink rose in her mouth. She was telling me, "Thank you. I love you." As the chiropractor held sore spots on each side of my neck, I saw that dog standing not far from me. Then she joined the horse in a pasture, and they both rolled over on their backs with their legs in the air, looking relaxed and playful. The words from the rock came to mind. Take life lightly. Now, when I find myself getting too serious or distressed about something, a picture of the horse and dog in the pasture appears in my mind. They're on their backs, looking relaxed and playful. When I start thinking in ways that let me take life more lightly, the horse and dog both jump to their feet, ready to take on whatever the next task is. I don't know how a chiropractic technique can be so profound and contain so much healing and teaching, but that's how it's been for me. It couldn't have happened unless that dog, that horse, that rock, that chiropractor, and I were one with each other. An experience like that can only happen because we are connected in meaningful ways. We are all one on a level we are coming to understand a bit more all the time. We really are holy children of God. It's part of the new emerging consciousness that Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about in his book. People are starting to become more aware of it, more aware of the fact that we are all connected. We're all one. We're all forever innocent, forever loving, and forever loved. It can be easy to get discouraged when, in spite of our growing awareness, we still sometimes forget who we really are. A Course in Miracles has encouraging words for that too. In the Manual for Teachers on page 91 are these hope-filled words. You can find them in section 1, verses 4 through 6 of the epilogue. No one can fail to do what God appointed him to do. When you forget, remember that you walk with him and with his word upon your heart. Who can despair when hope like this is His. Take heart. Remember who you really are. You are a holy child of God, forever innocent, forever loving and forever loved, as limitless as your Creator, completely changeless and forever pure. If you forget that you are one with all that is, don't despair. It may take time, but you cannot fail to do what God appointed you to do. Thanks.